Hello and welcome to Planet Power Tarot. This is for the sign of Aquarius for the month of September 2022. Now, before we jump into the tarot deck, I just wanted to point out Mercury and Venus here because Mercury will be retrograde September 9th through October 2nd in Libra and then moving to Virgo, I believe, September 23rd through October 2nd. So basically, the whole month is going to be Mercury retrograde. And we know Mercury is the planet of communications and information, how we receive it, how we interpret it, how we deliver it. And there is a time during retrograde periods where there's mix-ups, misunderstandings, miscommunications, cancellations, delays, just not a great time to make forward motion. So when we are in retrograde period, we have an opportunity to double check our work that we've already done, to kind of cross our T's, dot our I's, and make plans without initiating during this time, and hopefully not having to sign any contracts during this time. So what that means for you, Aquarius, is this is happening in your ninth house. And this is the house of travel, philosophy, higher education. It's the law. It's a period where, make sure you're not speeding and getting any tickets with the law. Make sure if you're traveling to double check everything because it will be fraught with, what I mentioned with delays and cancellations. And so the Mercury card that I laid out here is going to be in your eighth house. Now, the eighth house, of course, is the house of transformation, intimacy. It is the house of inheritance, right? It's the things that we're meant to leave behind, to detach from. This is Scorpio and Pluto energy, Aquarius. So this is going to be a pretty intense period for you. So let's take a look at an oracle card to kind of get a theme and to get some forward motion. I'd like to start with an oracle card, and I also like to start by thanking you for spending your time with me. I'm honored. I'm thrilled that you found me because I am brand new to YouTube. I've been reading intuitively for many years and just recently decided to start my own channel. So thank you again. Heart of compassion. There are many people around you now who benefit from your loving, compassionate heart. Very nice. Okay. So I have prepared all of my decks before filming for the sake of time, but we'll give them a quick shuffle. So I love the Heart of Compassion, especially since the ninth house talks about higher education, philosophy, and also the eighth house is where your intimacy is too. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of guidance we can get from tarot. Our first card is the King of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. I'm laughing a little bit because when you see the King of Swords, Heart of Compassion is not the first thing that comes to mind. He's known as the King of Detachment, and that's why I laugh a little. All right, so now we have the Eight of Cups. This is you moving on. The Five of Swords and the Four of Swords. Totally retrograde period. I love this. Realigning, reassessing, resting up. Okay, so I like to organize my cards this way. I usually, in my monthlies, put cards that represent your ascendant, your rising sign on this side, and cards that represent your sun sign, Aquarius, which everybody knows is their sun sign, on this side, which is your true essence. So this is the public personality, the face that we show the world, right? This is our ego, which represents the first house, and this is our soul, which represents the 12th house. And in a perfect world, these two are balanced. We can't coexist without the other. This one is existing for the sake of the spiritual evolution, right? That's why we're here. So our job is to try to stay as balanced as possible during our life experiences. So I love that we're starting out with the Four of Wands because this is the homecoming card. This is celebration. This is joy. This is love and just what life is meant to be. Why not? This is you with your family and your friends celebrating a wedding, an anniversary, an engagement, graduation, birthdays, monumental occasions. And also too, this can represent a new home for some of you who have been looking. Now, the Ten of Pentacles is a brilliant card because this is spiritual, emotional, and financial fulfillment. This prosperity is generational. It's legacy. This is the statesman, the middle-aged couple, a small child, some dogs, and you're in your community, Aquarius, where you're very comfortable because you are the house of the collective and community, which of course is the 11th house. So this is totally your vibe. Now, the King of Swords shows up because there is some reassessment, reevaluating, and some detaching. Because remember that the 8th house, which is where Venus will be during this period, is about releasing, untethering, making space for something new. So you're going to be reevaluating some things during this time and taking a closer look at that. Now, you have a full moon that's happening September 10th, and that will be in your 2nd house. And of course, the 2nd house is your self-worth, your finances, your possessions, your material world. So you'll be taking a look at those areas as well too during this time. It's time for adjustment for everyone. Now, we come over here to the 8 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups is you walking away, you moving on, you leaving behind something that no longer is fulfilling to you, these cups, and you're moving toward your future, toward your destiny. And I love it. I do, because this is you taking action towards your higher purpose. Now, the 5 of Swords represents discordant energy. And this discordant energy is happening because of the Mercury retrograde. This is misunderstanding. This is miscommunication. This is not being on the same page. People are challenging you because they're not understanding. So again, this is just, be alert, to how you communicate. Be impeccable with your words. Don't take anything personally. Don't assume, and always do your best. The 4 agreements, right? This is perfect. We should be practicing them always, but certainly during retrograde period with Mercury. Now, remember this message, the heart of compassion. There are many people around you who benefit from your loving, compassionate heart. So remember when these disagreements come up, it's not always because people are challenging you. It's because their agreement or disagreements are coming from a state of confusion, and to be a little more compassionate during this period, okay? Now, the 4 of Swords is you realigning, reassessing, reevaluating, recuperating, retreating, all the rewords. And it's a spiritual alignment. And I like that it is depicted with a stained glass to get that spirituality vibe. So we are going to do a little bit of a deeper dive for further meaning, and I'd like to invite you to share, comment, and to subscribe. I am going to have more readings out for October. I will be doing weeklies and monthlies, but as I said earlier, I had to jump in, especially since I know that Mercury is retrograde, right? So here I am. Beautiful, the Sun card. This is a big yes, yes, yes from the universe. I love this card. And look at where it's at. Oh my goodness. Good for you. 2 of Swords. There's a decision that you're contemplating. And there is a time lapse with the Hanged Man. We have a little bit more of 5 of Wands. Not surprised. That's a little bit of confusion and chaos. We have a yearning with the 2 of Wands to move on. Oh, and we end with justice, karmic justice. Love that. All right, so the Sun card represents the most joyful, happiest card of the tarot deck. It is hard to beat a Ten of Pentacles, which is emotional fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment, abundance, financial abundance, but the Sun card does that. It's the only card that is the most joyful card in the tarot deck. So clearly, this is going to be a very, very joyful period for you if you take advantage of this time to slow down and not push your agenda and just to be with your loved ones, to be with your friends. This is a beautiful time to do that. Now, the Two of Swords represents indecision. It's a lack of faith. You seem to be at a crossroads and not knowing what to do, but you do. It's okay. It's okay not to make a rash decision, especially with our Mercury retrograde, but you can lay down one of those swords and you'll be left with the Ace of Swords, which represents triumph and victory. You know the right answer. You know the right path. Now, the Hanged Man, it's really divine timing. I love him because it's a makeshift crucifix hanging from it upside down, of course, but with a halo. And it talks about divine timing. It talks about it's not up to you. It's not up to me. There is a flow in our universe. And if we get into the flow, if we align ourselves, right, with the right purpose, on the right path, we will be aligned with divine's timing. And so it's also a period that tells us when to let go and when to hold on. And I think it was Ram Dass that says that life is just a series of knowing when to hold on and when to let go. And I'm reminded of that every time I see the Hanged Man, because that is true. And that's being in the flow, because we're supposed to hold on sometimes and we're supposed to let go sometimes. So remember that as you are walking away, right? As you are moving on to this beautiful, beautiful period in your life. Now, the Five of Wands, this is miscommunication, not seeing eye to eye. It's more of the same. It's Mercury retrograde, okay? So don't overreact, but take this time to see if there's someone in this group in particular, right, that's causing this and is no longer for your highest purpose. There's no value left in this relationship, right? Because this is the time where we release. This is the 8th house, right? Venus visiting during this period in the 8th house is meant for you to reassess these things. I mean, Venus is about the goddess of love and luxury and beauty. And so in the 8th house for Venus is a dark period, but it's meant to take an honest assessment of things. Now, the Two of Wands is about expansion. You have a plan and you've got the world in your hand and you are ready to move forward with it. It's beautiful. You are at the precipice of a new point in your life, a major transition. So very excited for you, Aquarius. And of course, justice shows up just in time. It says we are going to balance the scales. We are going to put wrongs right. We are going to get in balance so that we are in harmony, so that we are in flow, so that we are prepared for this next part of our journey. I love it. So let's get one more card to finish this reading off, Aquarius. And I hope it's resonated with some of you. And if you like it, please make sure to stop back. In October, I will be having some weeklies and also monthlies. The way is clear. Awaken to the power within you. Wow. Okay. The way is clear. Awaken to the power within you. You know what the answer is. You know which way you should go. The Two of Swords is a decision on which way you're going, and you know which way it is. Lead with your heart, my dear Aquarius. Have a beautiful month, and please be sure to stop back by. Bye.